PR Smith is my pen name. You can call me Paul. There's 4,000 PR or Paul Smiths in the UK and Ireland alone. So PR Smith's my brand name. If you Google PR Smith, you should find me. And I do three things: I write books about digital marketing and integrated marketing. I advise companies about digital marketing and integrated marketing, and I speak about it. And that's my 9 to 5. And we've got the SOSTAC planning framework, which we'll talk about later on. And then in my spare time, I run a not-for-profit program called the Great Sportsmanship Program at greatsportsmanship.org. And that's lots of beautiful stories about the milk of human kindness and determination to survive and so on and so forth, to inspire a new generation across the world. And we've got one nice Romanian story in there, greatsportsmanship.org, and we're going to have a second one very soon, I feel, as we've got an international Romanian tennis player who is English, Canadian and Chinese, shaking the world up at the moment. So I'm sure we'll get a few stories out of her as well. Shall I hand it back to you so Anna Maria can say hello?
Hello to everybody. Hello, Paul. Hello, Anna. So I'm Anna Maria Băjan. Professionally, I'm responsible for the marketing team and all the activities related for the brands of Caroli Foods Group in Romania, which became part of Sigma Group. And in the spare time, I enjoying being a teacher in Academy of Economics. I'm a doctorand. And in the third year of doctorand, I took classes with students, and I'm teaching public relation and research marketing. And last year, I finalized the full experience for becoming a charter marketeer in the Institute. So I'm now fully equipped with a whole luggage of knowledge specialized in digital. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna Maria. So during your studies, and there are so many students or already chartered marketer like Cristina here, Cristina Șerban, welcome. We used to talk each time, integrate the strategy and detail the strategy with the marketing mix. And we are talking no more just about the 4 Ps that we used to do more than 20 years ago. And especially now, not just in services, but also in FMCG, where you work, Anna Maria, we are obliged somehow to talk about the marketing mix and this extended marketing mix, because very often we promise a lot of stuff in the promotional P. And especially now when the pandemic forced us to go to digital, to extend the places into more digital distribution channels, or use digital tools, digital technology in the people element, there are problems. And there are so many variables of the marketing mix. This is why we ask you, do you use or not use the marketing mix? Because if we have SOSTAC, this special model that Paul will detail and tell us about it, that we use, and it's used worldwide as the most efficient way to plan strategy, but also tactics. What about marketing mix? Is it useful? Can we take decisions using the marketing mix? Can we evaluate the performance that we are doing? So this is what we aim to talk today. And since we have Paul here for a limited period of time, I would just switch to Paul, and then we would switch to Anna Maria and her campaign, and get a dialogue between them and some comments, feedback regarding the campaign, and then we'll switch to Romanian so that we can talk together more.
Right. Well, thank you for doing this piece in English. Very much appreciated. By the way, I am an Irishman, not an Englishman, so I can speak Irish, but that's not going to be any use to anybody. So let's get on with it in English for this piece. Yeah, it's an interesting question. You know, do you use the marketing mix? There's many different versions of it, and probably the easiest one is the 7 Ps, and you have the 7 Ps there. And I would say that a lot of marketers I see definitely still use it as a reference point, but what they're seeing is the elements morphing. By morphing, I mean coming together. So, you know, what would have been a decision about product development or a decision about promoting that product are coming to merge together. So if we said, you know, a product now has chat rooms around it, or it's using augmented reality to add value to it, so that you can see the recipes on the packaging on how to cook it. And sometimes it'll even talk to you, you know. So is that product or is that promotion? Well, I would say it's both, because you should be leveraging it both ways and thinking in an integrated way. So the added value you have from digital going on top of the traditional product, let's say you make cans of soup, you know, there's the basic product, but we layer in on top of it, say, augmented reality, which allows you to see on the packaging or on the tin, it'll show you how to cook it and the ingredients within it, etc., etc. So that adds value to the product. So that's definitely a product decision. But at the same time, that's relatively newsworthy at this point in time, so that you could say it's a promotional. It suddenly becomes, you know, a video of the augmented reality on a tin is still newsworthy. Therefore, that becomes a promotional item. Or if you layer on social media discussion around any product, then it's added value, but it's also social media, which is potentially promotional. So I find it very difficult to see how any of these items, any of the 7 Ps do not merge. And in fact, for me to throw a takeaway for you, I would say always to think integrated. And when you're making a decision about a product, think about, does this lend itself to promoting? Are we doing anything new with it? And vice versa, particularly with the digital world kicking in. So that would be my first observation, is that there's a morphing between the traditional, that's this budget goes to this because it's about product development, and this budget goes to this because it's about promotions or it's about place. You know, that's starting to merge now. So we may have to rethink and say, well, we're going to have a total budget, and we may start off with our 7 Ps, but we're going to, each time we think about one of those Ps, look at the other Ps and see, can we integrate this? Can we leverage it? So that would be my most basic reaction. And there is one other that caught my eye recently, and this is Amazon's change of model from, you know, shop and ship to ship and shop. So that's a strategic shift. So they're saying that they can predict what you need, and they will ship it to you before you buy it, and it'll land on your doorstep, and then you'll make a decision. Oh no, I don't want that, or oh yes, please, I do want that. Now, some would say, is that product? Is that place? Is that promotion? I mean, it ticks all the boxes for me. So a shift from digital shop and ship to what they're doing now, investing heavily in their predictive analytics, so that they get better and better and better, and the virtuous circle of data helps them get better and better and better, to the point where they'll get significant percentages of people saying, oh, lovely, just what I need. Thank you, Mr. Amazon. Yep. Yeah. And you'd probably be able to speak to the package at that point and say, thank you. And they'll have your vocal print proving that you wanted to order this. So we're seeing huge shifts, and we're seeing kind of a merging of several of the Ps, which has been going on for some years. So the original question was, is the mix changing? Do you still use it? I think it's morphing. I think it's a good checklist to start with. And that's a useful way of thinking about it, is to integrate, particularly with digital and data. Can we use these to get more bangs for your buck? So just to put it into perspective, if I may, Juana, in 1 minute, where the mix fits in the SOSTAC planning process, if you like. So S is for situation analysis. Where are you now? Analyzing your customers, your competitors, your own company's strengths and weaknesses, and of course the external trends that are uncontrollable. So that's our analysis. Where are you now? Then you've got your objectives, your mission, vision, and KPIs, and then you've got your strategy. How are you going to get there? So situation analysis, where you're now, objectives, where you're going, strategy, how you're going to get there. That's the big bit, the strategy. And a lot of strategy I look at is kind of weak, tends to miss some of the more strategic elements. However, if you get that bit right, that's a separate session really on strategy. But then you go into tactics, and tactics is where the marketing mix lives. So that's the details of strategy. So your strategy should drive your 7 Ps, or however many Ps, or whatever you want to define your marketing mix. It should give guidance to them, you know, from the kind of positioning and targeting perspective. That should drive the rest of your marketing mix clearly in one direction. And then you've got A for actions, and that's the kind of, how do you ensure your team, your staff will execute those tactics or those marketing mix decisions? How do you ensure your team will execute those with excellence and passion? And that will require internal marketing, which is often forgotten in marketing plans, but you need to bring your team with you. So they're enthusiastic, they're trained, they're knowledgeable, and you communicate while you're doing it. So that's motivation, training, communication, internal stuff. You need to budget for time and money as well. And then C is for control. How do we know we're getting there? So what metrics do you need to measure so that you don't end up at the end of the quarter finding out you've missed your target? You're on it each day or each week or each month if necessary. So that's your SOSTAC. And we add in the 4 M's, the 4 key resources: men and money, the human resource, men and women, the human resource, money, budgets, minutes, timescales, and M, the new one is mega data, which really means data. So add those together and you've got your SOSTAC planning framework. And in the middle of it, at the tactical level, sits the marketing mix. Now, Anna Maria is going to talk to us about a campaign. And what's interesting about that is that you can actually apply SOSTAC to any kind of plan, to a corporate strategy plan, to a marketing plan, to a digital marketing plan, to a product plan or a project plan or a campaign plan or your personal life plan. You know, it works with all of these things. So it'll be interesting to see Anna Maria talking about a campaign plan in a little bit, and whether SOSTAC helps the thinking process, because it's a logical, structured system to help you take risk out of your decisions and forcibly make more informed decisions, which will benefit, you'll get better results at the end of the day. Yeah, one other thing I would say, particularly in the services sector, when you're using your 7 Ps, all products are services today. So the 4 Ps is just not enough. Because of digital, every product has become a service, because every product has a website, every product probably has a chatbot, or if it hasn't, it will have soon enough, and et cetera, et cetera. So the 7 Ps make sense. So we've learned from them, and I think we're beginning to apply 7 Ps to the traditional products. Products only had 4 Ps originally, and services took on the extra 3 Ps. But now we're seeing every product becoming a service, and every service becoming a product. So some services are starting to add products onto their portfolio as well. So, but what I find interesting is the disruptive nature of digital, that we're seeing, models being turned upside down. If you look at the world's largest taxi company, they don't own any cars. The world's largest media owner doesn't own or doesn't create any content, but it owns it. I'm talking about Facebook there. And the world's largest accommodation company, Airbnb, doesn't own any real estate. It's kind of extraordinary the way the models have turned on their heads. But when we get to using the 7 Ps, I think they're a good checklist, good starting point. Remember to integrate them, and they fit in the middle of your plan in the tactics section. Back to you, Juana.
Thank you, Paul, so much, because it's so interesting. So especially now that we have the survey and what our audience is saying, there are varied answers, very mixed. People that use, that don't use, or occasionally use the marketing mix. And we are very keen to see exactly an example, a campaign from Anna Maria, because it's not at all anymore just about theory or tools. It's about how reality changes and how the competitive game changes. And as you said, and we are seeing that in Romania, with our EMAG, our Amazon, that the competitive advantage lies in the other 3 Ps of the mix, not anymore in the product, but in processes, in distribution, and it's changing. So it's so interesting for us to see. But let's switch to Ana Maria, because I was intrigued, and I'm also very curious on how can we use also the SOSTAC in a campaign, because usually, personally, when I use the SOSTAC, it's just for myself and then just for communicating plans to others, making it easier or getting buy-in from the stakeholders. Ana Maria, surprise us.
Yes, if it's possible to allow me to project some slides just to be easier to follow, it will be great. We didn't arrive yet to deliver our product directly to the consumers and them to be very happy they receive that product. But probably in some time we are going to succeed to arrive at that level when we are going to deliver the product and the consumers to say, wow, it's exactly what I really needed. I selected for today a campaign we implemented. I really believe in integrated communication, because all the time when it's planned and integrated, the campaigns are delivering much better. I selected a campaign for Campofrio brand. It's one of the brand in our portfolio. I will go very fast, but if you have questions or if you like to interrupt, just for the sake of time, I will go through very fast through the logic. And I selected for today a new product. We launched it on the market, and for which we have planned and developed and implement an integrated campaign based on the SOSTAC model. I will not insist very much on the situation analysis, because this was actually after we analyzed all the market and all the context, we decided to launch these products because this category is emerging in Romania. Actually, before the pandemics, didn't even exist, so it's in an emerging phase right now, because after we launched the products on the market, we noticed even the retailers were bringing more products on the shelf of snacking. Paul, probably in Western Europe, this snacking it's very famous, because our colleagues in the group were reporting very high increase in this snacking category. For us, it's only new. We just launched it on the market last year, and for which for this products we prepared an integrated campaign. We established the objectives, and we really focused on the strategy, especially for segmentation and targeting and positioning the product in the mind of the consumer. So we carefully thought before the campaign all these phases. Today I will concentrate a lot of the tactic parts and the KPIs and what kind of channels and how we integrated the campaign we developed. Mainly it was a campaign in digital. We used TV, but very few. The main reason it was regarding to the target, because our target, unfortunately, for this product, it's not very present on TV. So much easier we found it in digital, but we used in store as well. We planned the full phases of the campaign: awareness, engagement, and the conversion. So here I would really recommend when, especially when you have a new product for the consumers, doesn't matter it's food or any other product, a key learning we learn along the way. It's to prepare the audience for the new product and to follow and integrate all the campaign on these phases. Don't rush too much, because to propose to a consumer to buy a new product about they don't know anything about, it's a very high conversion rate cost for this. So we will strongly recommend to follow the awareness, the engagement, and the conversion phase to arrive in the end, not to start with I would like to sell this product to my consumer. And in the phases to think very well the funnel for the campaign you are going to implement it, because we are calling, to warm up the audiences. So what we have done in the Campofrio snacking launching product, practically we follow the awareness phase with product placement and with product tastament. After that, in the engagement phase, we plan a lot of sampling for this campaign in order the consumer, after they heard about the product, to taste the product as well. And only after these two phases were very well done, we arrived at the conversion when we promote a free delivery offer for the consumers. So practically what I would recommend, and it was very good in this campaign, above the integrations and all the phases we follow, is to really know who are your prospects and to follow these phases. And the digital at this moment, it's very generous in possibility to follow all these phases. Practically what we establish for Campofrio snacking regarding to the target, as I told you, we establish very clearly which are the main target for this product because of some insights we developed before the campaign. So the whole planning of the campaign was in the phase in previous with accompanied by a research. So in the research we found out this product is very well for the gamers, and we plan whole the campaign for this target. So we really studied the gamers. We selected 5 key opinion leaders in gaming, so gamers with high communities between 500 and 1.5 million. Practically we targeted only this community in all these phases. So practically in the first phase, we asked the key opinion leaders to place the products in their videos, to consume the product. After that, we promoted only to that audiences who engaged to this campaign. And after that, for the one who engaged, we send messages only to that ones to convert. Only in this way, you can succeed to have a very good conversion rate. So at least it's what we learned and what we succeeded to achieve. I will go through very fast to the tactics we involved on each phase. So practically in the awareness phase, the tactics we selected, there were 3, but one, it was the most important. So it was the marketing influencing. So as I mentioned, we selected these top 5 influencer gamers, which we activated. It's very true, we activate all the time, and it's a recommendation to use your own assets like Campofrio, using the Facebook pages, the TikTok, the Instagram, the YouTube, the website, the blog. So we developed as a tactic content marketing specifically for the gamers, and we activated these 5 influencers. And for these audiences, we agreed with the influencer to allow us to make performance only for their audiences. And what we measured with these tactics, practically there were only the views, the reach and the impressions, but what it was the most interested were the views. So how many out of their audiences they really view our assets we developed for this campaign. Because we developed here it's another recommendations when you develop assets for digital and for a specific audiences to customize these assets. It's different what you place in YouTube, it's different what you place in Twitch or in social media, especially for a very how to say specific target, how is the gamers. In the phase of the engagement, practically we address only the ones who view the communication we launch, both on our assets and on the influencers platforms. And here we really measured the likes, shares, and comments. In terms of the tactics, we add in this phase of the engagement, we add the digital PR. And practically here we activated some tonomats. I don't know if you know the tappy ones, where you can place the product and the consumer can take the product to taste it. In this phase with the influencers, as well they were promoting our products. We open a platform on our website in which they could register and ask for a sample to taste it. So first it was product placement in the influencer in the first month. They were placing the products in their videos without saying anything about the product. So they only place it and consume it. In the second month, in another video, the influencers actually were inviting their audiences to ask a sample of this product, or they were encouraged to enter on a website to claim the sample from the brand. And only in the third month, we activated only for the audiences which were registered for the samples. We activated the offer. We had it in a marketplace we created. So practically the main tactics in this phase of the conversion was to activate e-commerce platforms. We did a partnership with Glovo and we create a marketplace in the Glovo. We had partnerships with other e-commerce platforms, the most important one with Bringo, but the marketplace we decided to create it in Glovo. So only in the third phase, when the audiences saw the product, taste the product, only that we address it with a buying message in order to convert.